I am Nina, and I have always dreamed of living a simple life with my husband and children. On top of that, since I was young, I have always been so optimistic about my life. I always wanted to live a life that is full of adventure yet simple and peaceful, and I want to spend it intimately with the family that I wanted to build with. My parents are my rock, and I have seen how they embody a life of adventures and simplicity. I grew up filled with their love and support, and I am determined to build a family that feels warm and safe, just the same as the family that I have growing up. So when I met my husband Denver, I knew that he is the man that I am down to build this life with. Back when we were dating, we shared the same principles in life, and it same goes today. We both love traveling, trying new things, and still enjoy the calmness of a simple lifestyle. For us, that is what we call balance. I love him to the core and my family loves him as well. But on his end, it's quite different. His mother, Lucia, never showed affection nor even a hint of likeness to me. She often talks to me with no respect, as if she would just straight up say to my face, "I don't like you for my son," and it does feel that way. Her actions towards me are terrible. She made me feel uncomfortable during their family gatherings and even refused to address me by my name and only called me that girl. It hurts because I'm trying my best for her to like me, but no matter how hard I try, she still hates me. I would often hear her talk bad about me to their relatives whenever my husband, who was my boyfriend at that time, would invite me to their family gatherings, which happens often. I heard her gossiping about me with Denver's aunt in the kitchen. I was about to fetch some fresh fruits in the pantry when I decided to eavesdrop.
She's so grim. Whenever she was at our house, the atmosphere would go dark immediately. She has that bad vibes that annoy me, that make me want to smack her face out. I mean, just look at her. What a dull woman.
My heart felt a sudden sting. It pains me so badly as I listen to the way she describes me. Oh, don't say that. She's a sweet child. Denver's mother laughed so hard, mocking his aunt.
Are you joking? There's nothing sweet about that girl. She's tasteless and ugly, and her style is a piece of rubbish. I wonder where my son met her. At first I thought of her as poor and living on the brink of poverty.
Denver's aunt heaved a sigh. I don't know what you are talking about, but I don't see her that way.
Well, I only want what's best for my son, and that girl will only bring him to tragedy. I prefer my high school best friend's daughter more. That lady has more class than that dumb-looking whore named Nina.
I could feel my tears falling and my heart numbing in pain. I heard footsteps coming, and it was Denver's aunt coming out, so I quickly hid in the bathroom before she saw me. I have always been so good to Lucia. I never disrespected her, even though she always does that to me. Because I know that she is Denver's mother, and out of my love for her son, I would still choose to respect her. That conversation got imprinted in my head. It tormented me for how many years, and it stemmed out my insecurities and heartaches. I never told Denver about it because I don't want to cause any trauma. Nevertheless, his mother's disapproval of me didn't stop us from continuing our relationship. Denver and I were engaged, and his mother has nothing to do about it. And after months of preparation, we got married. He promised me that he will never let his mother hurt me again as we were building our own family from now on. But little did we know, Lucia has been planning to stay with us. She convinced her son to let her stay at our place, and because of Denver's soft heart, he agreed. And to me, that is a wrong decision. But I didn't even try to argue because I don't want to sound like the bad guy here, so I compromised and welcomed her to our humble abode. I thought now that I am Denver's wife, everything would be better, but it gets worse. Ever since I married her son and she moved in with us, I sensed that Lucia harbored a deep-rooted animosity towards me even more, and it is more intensified than it was before. She never hesitated to belittle me in front of others, criticizing everything from my appearance to my abilities as a wife and mother. Her words were like poison, slowly corroding my self-esteem.
Look at you, pretending to be a mother. You're nothing more than a burden on my son and my grandchildren. I bet they would be better off without you.
I was taking care of my eldest daughter because she was having a fever, and my mother-in-law decided to drop her insults again. I am so done with all her shit. So I remained silent, holding back tears, and just focused on my child.
You can't even handle simple tasks. It's no wonder my son has to go on business trips to get away from you. You're a failure as a wife and mother. And look at my granddaughter. She's sick because you weren't able to take care of her. You're a worthless mother.
She clicked my head with her pointed finger. She even grabbed my hair because she was so angry at me. But I just took a deep breath and tried to maintain my composure.
You think I don't see how you struggle? You're pathetic. I raised my son better than this.
I bite my lip, refusing to give Lucia the satisfaction of a reaction.
You're a stain on this family's reputation. I don't know how my son could have chosen someone like you. You're a worthless whore, dumb and stupid.
I closed my eyes momentarily, trying to block out the hurtful words, but I could feel the tears slowly forming in my eyes.
If it weren't for those kids, I would have thrown you out long ago. You're nothing but trouble. I would want you out of our lives.
I remained silent as I continued brushing the warm towel on my daughter's forehead. I just focused on the love I have for my children, finding strength in their presence. Until she grabbed my chin and harassed me.
Look at me, you idiot! Do you want me to take out your eyeballs? You are lucky my son provides for you. Otherwise, you would be on the streets begging for scraps.
I took a deep breath, knowing that my restraint is the best way to protect my children from further harm. I didn't answer her and I just stared at her.
I can't believe you're their mother. They deserve so much better than you.
Her grip on my chin was so tight that I was fighting to hold back my tears, and then she let go of me. She went out and opened the door, but as soon as she got out, my 6-year-old younger son was at the door, holding his phone, and his face was filled with concern. He immediately ran towards me and hugged me so tight. I wanted to fight back. I wanted to hurt her the way she hurt me, yet, for the sake of my husband and children, I endured her verbal abuse. Yes, children. Denver and I have 2 children now, and imagine the mental and emotional torture that Lucia caused me for almost 10 years now. She would insult, abuse, and mistreat me whenever my husband was not around, and she even dared to brainwash my children, especially the eldest. That's why my eldest daughter hated me for no reason at all. The turning point came when my husband had to travel abroad for an extended business trip, leaving me alone with the kids. It was as if Lucia saw this as the opportune moment to unleash her pent-up hatred and exact her revenge. One evening, she cooked dinner for us under the pretense of reconciling our differences. Yes, she said right in front of me with the words,
I don't want us to fight. I will be better for the family, and I will make it up to you. I am so sorry.
I naively hoped that maybe, just maybe, she would soften her heart. But the moment we finished the dinner that she prepared for us and I was completely oblivious to her deceiving plans, her true intentions became apparent. Her icy glare sent shivers down my spine, and I knew I was in for a brutal encounter.
You have brainwashed my son into marrying you.
She spat venomously. I was shocked by her impulse. I knew it. I knew she would never soften her heart. She is just ruthless.
You're a disgrace, a worthless addition to this family.
As she said those words, my eldest daughter, whom she brainwashed, nodded her head in agreement. Her cruel words wounded me deeply, but I tried to stand my ground. I didn't want to show her how much she hurt me, but my efforts were in vain. Please, Lucia, enough with this. She just laughed at me and rolled her eyes.
Why? Because it is true? You're nothing but a speck of dirt in our lives. Your children hate you, and my son will never come back for you. You're a loser clinging to life.
That is not true. Our family is stronger than you ever think. I don't know why you hate me so much. All I ever did was to do everything just to please you, but you never liked me. I am so tired of all your disrespectful words and mistreatments. Within moments after I said those words, she erupted in rage, hurling insults at me until she finally screamed,
Get out of my house! You don't deserve to be here! You're worthless and dirty!
She straight came to me and grabbed my arm by force. Her grip was so tight that I could feel my arm stinging in pain. She even grabbed my hair and dragged me to the front door. In tears, I pleaded with her, begging her to reconsider, but she was relentless. She pointed to the door and shoved me towards it, demanding that I leave immediately.
I want you out of here. You think you're brave? Then show it to me. Go, live in that dark world and fight for your life, you idiot.
My children stood by her side. My youngest son cried as he looked at me while the eldest one was just staring at me motionless and confused. With a heavy heart, I took my children's hands, but Lucia stopped me. She pushed me away and I stepped out into the cold night.
You will never see your children again.
My youngest child screamed in tears while my eldest also started crying as well. My heart broke as I saw them screaming for my name. Lucia, please, don't do this. Lucia handed me a stack of newspapers, telling me to sleep on the street like the trash she thought I was. My kids kept on crying, confused and frightened by their grandmother's heartless behavior, and then she slammed the door, leaving me outside, and the rain started pouring. I didn't leave our house. I knocked many times until the guard of the village stopped me. I stayed in front of our house soaking wet and lying on the newspaper that she threw at me. What I didn't know at the time was that my youngest child had started capturing snippets of Lucia's abusive behavior on her phone way before this incident. Unable to bear the injustice, he had taken it upon himself to expose his grandmother's true nature, and he also captured the moment when I was lying on the newspaper outside by her room's window. My son, who was tech-savvy beyond his years, had created a secret folder on his phone, accumulating evidence of Lucia's abuse towards me over time. He had become my silent avenger, determined to bring his grandmother's true colors to light. Unbeknownst to me, he had uploaded the video of me sleeping on the streets to Facebook, sharing the raw truth of my humiliation with the world. But that was just the beginning. As days passed, he secretly filmed more incidents revealing the extent of Lucia's cruelty. The moment of reckoning came when the last straw broke the camel's back. In a burst of anger, Lucia grabbed my eldest child's arm roughly, leaving bruises behind. He captured the entire incident on video and promptly shared it with the world. Within hours, the internet exploded with outrage. People from all walks of life, celebrities, activists, and even politicians voiced their support for me and my children. My mother-in-law's actions had ignited a fire of public fury that could not be quenched. The humiliation I had endured now paled in comparison to the embarrassment Lucia faced. The court of public opinion had found her guilty, and there was no escaping the consequences of her actions. Soon after, the police arrived at her doorstep, responding to numerous reports of her abusive behavior. The video evidence provided by my brave son was undeniable, and it sealed Lucia's fate. And I was still staying outside for 3 days, and people gathered to see me and witness the incidents. As reporters swarmed around the house, capturing Lucia's hysterics on camera, I couldn't help but feel a sense of poetic justice. The tables had turned, and the woman who had tried to destroy me was now the one exposed for her true nature. Her arrest marked the beginning of my family's healing process. We were no longer under the shadow of her hatred, and my children slowly started to rediscover their love for me as they saw me standing up for our well-being. The revenge I had sought was not to humiliate or embarrass my mother-in-law, but the truth of her actions did that for me. Her downfall was the consequences of her own venomous choices, and though I could never forget the pain she had caused me, I chose to move forward, focusing on rebuilding our lives with love and support. My mother-in-law's cruelty had inadvertently united my family and brought us closer to a world of empathy and understanding. We emerged stronger from this ordeal, no longer shackled by her hatred, but free to embrace the love and kindness that had been waiting for us all along. In the aftermath of Lucia's arrest, our lives slowly began to transform for the better. With the toxic influence of my mother-in-law removed from our lives, my children and I found solace in the support of friends, neighbors, and even strangers who had rallied behind us during the ordeal. The overwhelming sense of community and compassion helped us heal wounds that had been festering for far too long. As the legal proceedings continued, the evidence against Lucia piled up, revealing a pattern of abuse and cruelty that shocked even those who had known her for years. It became evident that her hatred extended far beyond just me. She had been mistreating her own family for years, leaving a trail of emotional scars in her wake. The court proceedings exposed Lucia's true character to the world, and her reputation crumbled before her very eyes. People who had once admired her now saw her for the monster she was. The humiliation she faced was more profound than anything she had ever inflicted upon me. Throughout the trial, I kept my focus on nurturing my children's emotional well-being. The scars of their grandmother's abuse would take time to heal, but with therapy and unconditional love, they began to regain their sense of security and self-worth. Emma, my brave little adventurer, became my source of inspiration. Her strength and resilience showed me the power of a child's love and the courage it takes to stand up against justice. Despite everything, I chose to maintain empathy rather than sink to Lucia's level. As her life spiraled out of control, I couldn't find it in my heart to take pleasure in her downfall. Instead, I wished for her to realize the consequences of her actions and hopefully seek redemption and change. In the months that followed, Lucia's trial concluded with a conviction, and she faced the penalties for her abusive behavior. She was mandated to undergo counseling and attend anger management classes. Additionally, a restraining order was put in place to protect my children and me from any further harm. Throughout the legal process, I emphasized to my children the importance of forgiveness, not for Lucia's sake, but for their peace of mind. I wanted them to understand that carrying the burden of hatred and resentment would only weigh them down. Instead, we focused on moving forward and building a life based on love, respect, and kindness. As we rebuilt our lives, I immersed myself in advocacy work for victims of abuse. I was determined to turn our painful experience into a catalyst for positive change. By sharing our story, we hope to raise awareness about the hidden epidemic of domestic abuse and inspire others to break free from the chains of cruelty. The support we received during our darkest hours continued to pour in, but I was especially moved by the compassionate actions of a newspaper company and its staff. Not only had they come to my rescue when I was sleeping on the streets, but they also reached out to support our advocacy work. They offered me a platform to share our story, to bring hope to those who were suffering, and to raise awareness about the importance of breaking the cycle of abuse. Together, we formed a powerful alliance that fought against the darkness of abuse and cruelty. Our message resonated with countless people, and the movement gained momentum, leading to positive changes in the way society addressed such issues. In time, our family found healing, not just from the wounds inflicted by Lucia, but from the scars of our past. Our journey had been one of resilience, redemption, and above all, love. Through the darkest moments of my life, I discovered the strength within myself, the unwavering support of my children, and the indomitable power of unity. Today, as we stand together, our hearts are filled with gratitude for the outpouring of love and kindness we received from people who saw us not as victims, but as survivors. Our story serves as a beacon of hope from those trapped in the clutches of abuse and a testament to the transformative power of forgiveness and compassion. In the end, our revenge was not a cruel act of humiliation, but a story to triumph over adversity and a birth of a new chapter in our lives. We emerged from the darkness stronger and more united, ready to embrace the beauty of life and the joy that comes from building a future filled with love and empathy.